Welcome to Code Station.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Ultimate Kotlin tutorial. This is episode 6 where we can learn about if-else statements. If you have missed out on our first few episodes, I would highly recommend watching them first. But without any further ado, let's begin. So today we're going to learn about simple if-else and if-else if statements. So what are simple if-else statements? These statements are basically used to check a condition, and if the condition is true, it will execute a set of block of code. So as you can see here, we have a condition which is being checked. If the condition is true, the if part will be executed. If it is false, the block of code inside the if will not be executed and the code will continue further. So let's understand this better in the code. Okay, so we have our code base ready. Here we're going to learn about simple if statements. So let's think about conditions. So what can be conditions? They can be Boolean variables. They can be simple comparison operators that we are using to compare two values. There can be many more things. So let's try a simple if using Boolean variables. So let's create a variable called as bool is equal to true. So this bool variable is true right now. So if I use the if in bracket bool, so what we are doing here, and then we put these curly braces. So what we are doing here, this if statement is checking bool. If it's true, it will execute it. If it's false, it will not execute it. So let's try printing it. It is true. So if I run this, as you can see, the print it has printed it is true because this bool variable was true. But if I make this as false, and if I run this now, as you can see, it did not print anything. So basically, it checks this bool variable. If it's true, it will print the inside block of code. If it is false, it will not print the inside block of code. That is a simple if statement. But what if I want to make a exception, like if the statement is true, print this, else if it is false, print that. So what we can do is we can add something called as else. So this becomes a simple if else. So what we are doing here, we are checking that if this bool is true, print it is true. If it is false, print ln it is false. So if I run this now, as you can see, it is showing as it is true and it is false. And if I make this to true, and if I run this now, it is showing as it is true. That is how the simple if else works when we are putting a variable inside it. But what about I want to use a comparison operator? I want to compare two different values, and if those values come out to be true or false, we check them. So let's understand this in this way. So let's make two variables. Variable a is equals to 10, variable b is equals to 20, right? So inside this bool where we wrote bool, what we can do is we can do if a is greater than b, then print here a is greater. If it is not, print here b is greater. As you can see, it has printed b is greater because yeah, b is 20, a is 10, and 20 is definitely greater than 10. But if we turn it around, if we make it 30, as you can see, the output is a is greater because it certainly is greater. These are two ways of using the simple if else statements. But let's talk about what if there are many more conditions, like not just if else but many more than that. Like for example, if you want to compare 3 digits, so how do you do that? So let's back to the PowerPoint and let's understand in that way. Now that we've understood the simple if else, let's understand if else if, where we're checking multiple conditions, like if a is greater than b, b is greater than c, or if c is greater than a. So how can we check that? Using the simple if else if. How we do that? We use the if condition. If the condition is true, we execute the if part and ignore the next part of the body. But if the condition is false, we make one more check of the else if, where we check one more condition. If the condition is true, we execute that else if part. But if it turns out to be false, then what we do, we go to the next part, that is the else part, and this else part will be executed no matter what. So let's understand this better inside the code. Okay, so we are in the code part of it. This is where we've executed the simple if else. Now let's understand the if else if part of it. So we can make 3 variables, that is var a, var b and var c, and let's delete this actually. Okay, so how we do it, let's understand the basic syntax of if else if. So if in bracket we put the condition that is a greater than b, if this is true, then println a is greater. Now here can be some caveats, right? So what we can do here, we can use the use of logical operators. So what are logical operators? That I've explained in the previous video. If you can go and check it out. But for the people who have understood what logical operators are, we can check multiple conditions. That is, if a is greater than b and a is greater than c. So once we have done that, we have checked two conditions in the same if statement. If that is true, it will print a is greater. Else if, now you're using else if. So else if, that means if this condition is false, there's one more condition. If that is also false, then move on to the next condition. So let's do an else if as b greater than a and b greater than c. If this is true, it will print ln b is greater. If now we have done the basic b statement. What about the c variable? We also want to check the c variable. So what we can do here, now that we have checked that if a is greater than, if none of these conditions are true, if both of them are false, then obviously c is the greatest number out of all of them. So what we can do is else print ln c is greater. If I run this program, answer should be as a is greater. As you can see, the answer is a is greater. So let's make this as 30 and make this as 20 to recheck if our code is right or not. As you can see, it is again b is greater. Let's convert the c to 30 and this to 10. And now that we can check, as you can see, the answer is c is greater. But there's one big caveat about this program. That is, what if all the variables that a, b and c are 10? What if all of them are same? What will we do? We will give the first option, that is, so the last option is c is greater, because we have not put a condition here of if c is greater or not. We have directly declared if both of them are false, obviously this last one will be false as well. So what we can do is, we can add a else if here, else if c greater than a and c greater than b. If this is true, then we will print c is greater. But also we can add one more else, where if none of these conditions are true, we have checked now all the circumstances, all the conditions, none of them are true. What we can do is we can just print all are equal. Print all are equal. If I run this now, as you can see, all are equal. This is the basic simple if else and if else if statements. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. See you next time. Peace out.